What's up, everybody? Josh here with the Big 3 IDP podcast. Come on in, gather around. The water's just fine tonight. It's Thanksgiving week, Connie. We're very excited in the Raymer household to indulge all day Thursday and Friday and watch football.
It's going to be a good time, man.
It's going to be a great time.
The best eating, I mean, that and Christmas. We always eat Christmas Eve, I should say. Have that holiday meal.
Yeah, don't try to start a diet right now.
No.
That's not a good idea. Addie will be joining us shortly, remotely. We're finishing up some notes right now, so come on in. We apologize for the potato quality on the live stream last week. It was not good.
It was filmed with a potato, though.
It was. It was the old laptop. We were trying it out to see if it would work. It did not, so now we're back to my main laptop. Yeah, we're going to finish up some notes, and we'll get started here in just a sec.
Adam's dead, so he won't be joining us.
Adam is dead. That is true. You want to go outside and see how the audio sounds on the stream?
Yeah, I can.
See if we sound all right. Or you can just try it out right here. It doesn't matter. Just pull it up on Twitter. See how we sound and whatnot.
So am I clicking the link you DM'd?
No. Just the Big 3 live stream on Twitter. All right, we're testing out the sound to make sure we sound all right. Connie, how do we sound?
All right, we're testing out the sound to make sure we sound all right. Sounds great.
Not too blaring?
No, that was all the way up. My phone's just hella loud.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad. Yeah, we want to sound good without sounding too blaring. We don't want to blow you guys' eardrums out. I may take it down just a little bit. I know. We just got a new heater in the Sode Shack, everyone. We're very excited. It's getting a little cold here in BG. So your boy installed it. I can't change a light bulb without calling for a handyman, so I was very proud of myself. But it's off to this side of the Sode Shack. It's a little portable wall-mounted heater that is Wi-Fi controlled. So the Sode Shack is just seeing all sorts of upgrades that make it top of the line in terms of podcast studios. We're excited to have you guys in tonight. We've got a really fun episode. We're going to be hitting some news and some waivers, and then the segment we teased last week, comparing IDPs to Thanksgiving foods. Should be a lot of fun. We've come up with 6 foods, and each of us have come up with a player. So 18 players have the distinct pleasure of being compared to Thanksgiving foods. But come on in, bring any questions or comments or compliments that you have. If you want to say, hey, Josh, nice shirt. It's available at big3idp.com. Click the merch link if you'd like to get a Christmas present for yourself or someone, maybe your whole family wants Big 3 IDP. Maybe they're all listeners. You can get those over at big3idp.com.
Great stocking stuffer.
Great stocking stuffer. Or just like this is the main gift. Remember how Santa used to leave out the unwrapped presents? That you could just like throw that over the back of a chair and be like, look what Santa brought you.
There's still a Patreon tier, obviously, for Big 3, correct?
Yeah, you can support us over at Big3 or anchor.fm/Big3IDP.
So that can also be, give the gift that keeps on giving. It's like the Jelly of the Month Club.
Except you're giving the gift to us.
Yeah. No, but you could be giving the gift of listenership to someone.
Oh, okay, sure.
So you could give someone a membership or a subscription, I'm sure.
Okay. Sure. I like where your head's at.
Yeah, Black Friday special.
What's up to Abshurism IDP and DJ Cowtown, 2 of our patrons and 2 of our favorites. Welcome in, guys. We're delighted you guys are here. We're going to be starting here in just a bit. We're waiting for Addie.
He is dead.
Unfortunately, he'll be joining us from beyond the grave. He's wrapping up some notes right now. Oh, there he is.
I kind of like the gritty way of not having the heater before, but it's spoiling me now because it's right here behind me.
I know. There's Addie.
Hey, everybody.
How you feeling, Ad?
Thanks for having me on the stream.
So glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're live. Wow, 5 minutes. What have you guys been talking about? You guys
Just
been talking about me?
Just how you're dead and how we don't miss you at all.
We
Good.
did tell everybody you died from COVID. So.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm back. And I heard everything you said.
I'm gonna haunt your dreams.
Yeah,
All right,
so
Daddy.
I think we're ready. I'm ready to rock. I had to put some notes in.
You ready to light this candle?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go, fellas. Kick us off. 3, 2, 1. I'm dancing even though I can't hear it.
It's the Dream Team.
I hate that I can't
Adam,
hear it. I
Bobby,
love
Josh, you
it.
got the news feed. It's the Big Three. It's the Dream Team. Big Three IDP. Let's go.
What's up, you diehards, you degenerates, you lovers of defensive football? This is Josh Raymer, and we are back with another episode of the Big Three IDP podcast. And joining me in the Sode Shack tonight, to my left, is Connor Raymer. And joining us in the virtual Sode Shack from his humble abode is Adam Markham. Addy, how you doing, baby?
Doing good, Josh.
You sure about that?
Doing okay, man.
Hang-
Got the Rona, man.
Maybe. Hopefully not.
No, we're all good. I was exposed to somebody, so thought that I'd go play a round of golf, and I did that. I posted some pictures on Thursday. They're a beautiful sinkhole out at Old Stone, and so got to play like 12 or 13 holes, and then I got a text the next day from the guy I played with saying that he tested positive. So
And who did you play with before you went and played the way nicer course at Old Stone?
yeah, that's right. I played with Connie Wani over at Hobson Grove.
And people are saying he's turning into a scratch golfer. I'm not saying that, but people.
Those
are saying
people are
that, yeah.
blind or drunk or both.
Hey, Adam.
A lot of whispers of that. Although also few, fair share of furrowed brows too.
Some furrowed brows
Yeah,
being
I just
cast
did
in
my
your
best,
direction,
yeah.
Connie.
I can believe that.
Shots fired.
Sure.
Sure. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us tonight. It is a holiday weekend here in the United States with Thanksgiving coming up. I was talking to someone who lives in Amsterdam, and I was like, do you guys have Thanksgiving? Like, because, Amsterdam typically imports a lot of American holidays. And he said, no, we don't have a Thanksgiving equivalent, but we did steal Black Friday from you guys. So good to know that holiday has made its way across the pond.
Consumerism, man.
Dude, I bet Thanksgiving in Amsterdam would be sick, dude.
They do have some of the best food in the world, I will say.
Hey, you know what else they got, Josh, dude?
They make a mean stroopwafel. They make a great apple pie. My wife says their beer is very good.
And the other stuff, Josh.
Yeah, the red light district, prostitution is legal over there. So it's all good stuff, Addy.
Hey, is anybody ready for that special walk with the cousins this week, or to see your crazy uncle that's going to say something crazy?
Hey, I don't have to worry about that, guys.
Yeah, it's true. Adam gets to spare himself the fun dinner table conversations this week.
I still need a fake uncle remark about like just some fake uncle that said something just totally preposterous. So if you could get that off on social, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't need a
3%er proud boy here.
we don't need a fake uncle story. I'm sure that one of our uncles at some point will say something absurd. That's why you have uncles.
Yep, what they're for.
Even though we're all uncles now, so
Yeah, but say,
do
I'm
we
kinda-
fall into this category?
Yeah, I'm kind of outrageous for Paxton.
Nah, we're the cool uncles, bros.
We're the cool uncles. Take you get cigarettes and let you drive the car early and help you knock up some girl at your teenage prom. We're the cool uncles.
That's
Oh
right.
man, this show's off to a great start. We're
Yeah.
thankful. We're thankful that our listeners understand, Addy, that this is what they signed up for when they became fans of the Big Three IDP podcast. It's not going to be the straight-laced, strictly football, talk that you get on every other football podcast.
That's right. We like to have a wacky time because we're wacky boys.
Oh no, not the Wacky Boys character again. We don't need him to make a return appearance.
Wacky Boys guy coming out of retirement.
Yeah, let's put him back in the.
How we
back in the-
doing tonight? What you boys thankful for?
I'm thankful you're not here right now because I'd want to strangle you. So that's what I'm thankful
Could
for.
you imagine killing Markham on the live stream?
Oh, the numbers would be insane.
Yeah, so
I was thinking about that with all the Zoom calls and the podcasts and all these kind of like video conferencing things. Someone has been murdered on some kind of live stream this year.
Oh, dude, yes. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, there's been some awful things on live streams.
a lot of old dudes, Jay know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of, jaying off happening on the Zoom. We know that. There was what was it, a Times reporter that got canceled for that. So, but I'm just talking about straight up like murders. Like someone's on the Zoom, they take a butcher knife to the back, and then they're just hunched over on their laptop for the rest of the meeting.
I'd want you to kill me if I got caught cranking on a conference call. I'd want you to like give me the machete in the back of the head.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm thankful that I haven't been killed yet on a Zoom call or on a live stream.
Or caught cranking.
Yeah.
Is that how you want to go? Machete in the back of the head?
If that's what I'm doing, like unbeknownst
If
to my
it
own
helps
self,
y'all go viral, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take one for the team.
if that's what I'm going viral for, then yeah, just go ahead and kill me in the process, so I don't have to live with that.
Yeah, I feel like that would definitely do more for the numbies.
Oh,
You know?
yeah, for sure. We could get a lot of mileage out of that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fun show tonight, fellas. I'm excited. We've got some news, we've got some waivers, and we've got a fun segment comparing IDPs to Thanksgiving food. So we've got 6 foods, and we each did a player. So we've got 18 players that are going to have a distinct privilege and honor to be compared to some kind of Thanksgiving food. So look forward to that. It's going to be fun. But let's start off with some news here, boys. And look at this. I've been doing some work. We got a fancy banner here that we're going to put up during the news segment. Addy, you're not looking at the computer. You got to give me some.
Sick.
Look at us. We're all fancy now. So we're going to hit the news first, boys. And this first piece of news hurts my heart because even though Connor and I are Colts fans, being in Kentucky, you grow up around a lot of Bengals fans. And as we now know, Joe Burrow out for the season with a torn ACL, MCL, and other structural damage in his knee. Addy, this is gutting news for Bengals fans. We know one, Zach. Shout out Zach in the XFFL. The only thing they were clinging to this season was Joe Burrow's development, and please God, let him get through the season without being hurt. And now that's been taken away from them.
Yeah, not good. Definitely the worst thing that could have happened. And it wasn't just your standard, ACL. It was MCL. Then other stuff with it. We need to have Dr. Lee just break it down on Saturday's SOD. And I'm sure he will. But yeah, it sounds like he's probably not going to start the year next season on time. I think he'll probably come off the PUP maybe like week 6. But it's not what you want to see out of your franchise quarterback. That's what happens, though, when you have just a terrible offensive line. You hate to compare it to, Andrew Luck, but that does kind of feel similar. And I know you guys can probably speak to that a little more.
Yeah, and this, Connor, just for a double wiener punch situation for Bengals fans, comes just a day before we get the news report today that the Bengals are dealing with a toxic locker room environment. Coaches are cussing out players, using derogatory language toward them, calling them thugs. And, the hire of Zach Taylor was meant to inject life and energy into this Bengals franchise after Marvin Lewis had kind of steered them through years of mediocrity and a malaise had seemingly fallen on the franchise. Zach Taylor was brought in to change that, and according to this report, that has not been the case. So if you're a Bengals fan, this is about the worst 2-day stretch of news that you could possibly get.
Oh, and I mean, this is just another year for the Bengals. It's shades of when Carson Palmer was cheap shotted. Not that was cheap necessarily, but it's just the worst case scenario, right? You got a Heisman guy there, very promising, obviously different stories.
Team's great.
Team's, yeah, exactly.
Loaded.
But yeah, it's the worst case scenario for Burrow. I feel for him. We made the early comparison to Andrew Luck in terms of just a guy that has uber talent, some young talent around him that seems fun, but he has no O-line, and he was getting beat to death on track for, I think, 70-plus sacks. So we knew this was coming. And it was like us with Colts fans. We used to giggle at his first year when he would get hit and do the goofy, oh, good hit, man. And then we started realizing, man, he's getting up a little slower, and he's getting up a little slower. So
yeah, I used to joke he was made of the stuff that the black box in airplanes is made of.
yeah.
Turns out he's actually a person with a kidney, right, that could be lacerated.
Yeah, and so now we're looking at Burrow, and here's what's going to be crazy, and put this in the tickler file, is with Burrow, before I move on to the crazy Zach Taylor stuff, what's crazy is what if the Bengals head in towards a top 3 to 5 pick? Then what are you doing? Are you trading
They're
that to
number
get him
3 right now, I think.
You're going to hope somebody makes a jump, like, if you're an indie team or somebody that wants a young quarterback to help get some O-line picks, you could parlay some O-line or some draft picks or something. But be curious to see what they do to go ahead and be proactive, put a line around him. And you got to get Zach Taylor and everybody in there out. And you have got to find somebody that is a culture setter. And I think when stuff like that happens in a locker room, especially predominantly black locker room, if you're having guys and coaches call players thugs and just use totally racist undertone language and just unacceptable language, you need to let them have a voice with management and ownership about what they expect in a head coach, because the way we work at our company, we would always want everybody to feel like the culture in the workplace was one of mutual respect. Even if we get onto each other about messing something up, it's in a way of like constructive criticism, not belittling or anything like that. So that's just a total, again, just circling back to the big, it's just par for the course with them.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. They are sitting at number 3 right now. The Jets number 1, Jacksonville number 2. So you do have to wonder, the Jets or Jags mess up and win a couple games. Cincinnati's not going to win a game the rest of the season, that's for sure. But they have had, Addy, you think back on it, and it starts to make a little more sense. Carlos Dunlap obviously was very unhappy, got traded to Seattle. John Ross has publicly come out on Twitter and requested a trade. Apparently, the story came out that he injured himself playing DB. That ended up not being true, but they did float the idea by him before he got injured doing wide receiver drills. So there has been some stuff leaking out, and typically when there's smoke, there tends to be fire.
Right, yeah. Auden Tate, I think, was another guy that requested a trade. AJ Green hasn't seemed happy there this year.
Who put their house up for sale mid-game? Who did that?
That was Dunlap.
That was Dunlap.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just thinking of that.
It's just, it's been a bad organization for a long time. It's the owner's terrible, similar to what you guys dealt with in Indy. The owner's crazy, and there's no sign of him ever letting go of his power, and so that's just going to continue to probably not be a good situation. And it's Cincinnati. They're like always going to be the 3rd or 4th best option in the division.
Like the 28th biggest, TV market in the NFL. I mean, yeah. It's a mom and pop. Chris Wessling, who famously divorced himself from his Bengals fandom, said that it was a mom and pop run organization. Like they didn't even hire a full scouting staff until like the 90s or 2000s or something. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how cheap they've been for so long. So let's end the Bengals discussion. And again, to our Bengals fans, Zach included, I'm sorry that we had to go through this and drag your team through the mud, but Addy, who makes the playoffs first, the Bengals or the Jaguars?
Ooh, that's a good question. Man, I think I'm still going to have to go with the Bengals just because I feel like Jaguars aren't going to make it next year. I know they'll probably have Fields, but he'll still need a year, I would imagine, until they're ready to contend. But man, you never know. Sometimes those quarterbacks come in and just light it up. I mean, we could easily see Justin Fields being another one of those stories. But I think that Burrow comes back next year. I could see them making a run. But God, we're probably not looking until 2022 at the earliest for either one of these teams.
Yeah, you forget too, probably a new coach. So you have to wonder, new coach coming in, Burrow coming off the pup. Do they punt next year and truly start the rebuild? Because this did seem like a year that Burrow was brought in and they thought they could contend. That's why AJ Green's still there making $1 million a week. So I think it's actually going to be the Jags, because I think I think the Bengals have not truly bottomed out yet. I think that's going to happen next year, and so then the rebuilding process can start from there. The Jags have been bottoming out for a while, and when they get Fields in the building next year and some other draft picks, maybe they'll be able to turn it around a little more quickly. In a division that is not super competitive, especially if the Colts are without a quarterback. But, Connie, what about you?
I think I'm going to have to agree with Adam there on the Bengals, and just because if they don't bungle this on that having a top 3 pick and parlaying that in a pretty quarterback-rich draft into some O-line for some giving Burrow some protection and into a stopgap for those first probably 6 to 8 weeks, because like Adam said, I think there's probably a legitimate chance, and like you just said, Josh, I mean, they're paying guys like they were going to try to contend this year. So obviously not how it's worked out. The North is much harder than the South. So, contingent on obviously who the Jags get and where they finish up. And, if they're in that 1 or 2 slot like they are now, then, yeah, obviously you could have Fields or Trevor Lawrence and things could pick up rather quickly. But, the South is no slouch when you talk about what the Titans have put together, what the Colts have put together. So either way, in the AFC, you're going to be talking about, contending for a spot, but not guaranteed in a tough division or fighting for a wild card. So I'd probably lean more Bengals, though, just knowing that Burrow is there and that they're also going to have this pick in addition to having Burrow come back probably midway through next year.
Yeah. It's maybe the Colts led by Sam Darnold will put up a fight there with
you got that on the brain.
I do.
Sammy to end
Darnold is going to be somewhere. He is not going to be with the Jets. So there's going to
Joshy gets stuck on these things. You want Sammy boy, don't you?
I
Joshy?
do. I mean, a top 3 pick in the NFL draft is cut loose before he turns 23 or 24.
Oh, I'm about it. I'll give him a chance. Get Jacoby out of there, get Philly out of there. Although
clear up $50 million in cap space.
We'll get into this later. I mean, Phil has played besides the second half of the Baltimore game, just piece to resistance lately.
Yeah, he's been playing well. We just have to hope we don't get a bad field game here sometime soon.
We'll see what he does.
Hey, did I hear that maybe he had a slight injury in this last game?
He did hurt his foot.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was went to the tent. I think it was a foot ankle thing.
They said they thought it was turf toe.
Turf toe. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is not good. Not for a guy who literally cannot move. It's like he's going to be going in reverse motion at this point.
It's like Troy said, if it's his back right foot as a right-handed quarterback, and that's your plant foot, you kind of push off of and drive off of. And like you mentioned, Josh, a guy that's not mobile, it's not ideal, but Frank always finds a way as a former quarterback that I know has probably dealt with those mobility issues or impairment type issues that figure out ways to work around that. And, so I'm sure he'll figure something out where Phil can hopefully keep that hot hand going.
Just put him in a walking boot. Put him in a wheelchair.
Give him the Big Ben walking boot.
It is not going to affect his mobility whatsoever. Put him on the Paul Pierce wheelchair.
Hey, one more thing. Naheem Hines. I thought we were promised more Naheem Hines. What the
and then
hell
Jonathan
are they
Taylor.
doing?
Yeah, I guess I've learned not to trust any Naheem Hines news out of Indianapolis, because just when it makes sense that they're going to ride the hot hand, like after week 1, no, it's somebody else.
They're turning into the Patriots with that. Like, they have 3 backs, and you never know. It could be Jordan Wilkins one week. It could be – imagine if Mack was still there. You'd be having Mack,
a 4-headed monster.
Hines, Jonathan Taylor, and Wilkins. And I said at the beginning of the year when I first came on, Wilkins was going to work his way in.
And he has.
And he's played well in the limited snaps he's had. But JT, man, it's
just when it seemed like Hines was solidifying himself as the go-to back there, JT has his best game. So now everyone's going to be on the JT train, and we can expect Hines to have or maybe Wilkins will have the great game next week.
I think they're going to continue to try to work Hines in that gadget slot, but that number 12 from the practice squad has come over and
getting some good jet sweep action.
That's a different look at Andrew Luck than I used to see in number 12.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That hurts my heart.
Ooh,
all right, let's move on here. This news, just lay face down, Andrew. This news, boys, I just want to get a quick take on this here. This is old news at this point, but we have to bring it up. Drew Brees apparently just broke all his ribs. Broke them all, punctured his lung. He's gone on IR. So the question, Addy, and we'll start with you. If you broke 11 of your ribs, what's happening to you next?
I think I'm just laying down on a bed for 3 or 4 weeks, not moving at all.
I thought you were going to say 3 or 4 years, and I thought, yeah, that's probably the same place.
Or dying. That's probably
I was gonna say,
the option.
What's happening next is my family's figuring out who's going to say the eulogy. That's
I'm getting a new car. I'm assuming I've been in like a major traumatic car wreck, I guess. Like, is that the next thing? Because, dude, 11 ribs, like, you're pissing blood for a month or two.
Yeah, that's half your ribs pretty much because you've got 24.
Yeah, you're torn up, man. And he stayed in. That's the craziest. He stayed in, had a puncture. I don't know how long he stayed in. I don't think it was long.
No, I don't think it was. He didn't come back out after halftime.
What noise did he make when he was throwing the ball? Like a
something like that. It was really from the depths, a real guttural sound. So sound
off with your noises, guys.
Give us your moans in the comments.
Yeah, type out your moan sound. All right, so speaking of something that is moan-worthy, let's talk about the Ravens-Steelers game being in jeopardy on Thanksgiving due to the Rona. Multiple, unfortunately, positive tests. Both Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins tested positive for COVID, so it's the Gus Bus and Justice Hill. But the Ravens, I believe, or the Steelers, or maybe both had to shut their facilities down. I don't know, Eddie. I just saw a tweet. The game's in jeopardy. That would be some 2020 stuff right there to take away our Thanksgiving football game, the nightcap there.
Yeah, that'd be a shame. And it sucks for Dobbins just because he had, clearly he's going to be the guy now out of that backfield. I mean, we've known this all along. It just sometimes these coaches are a little stubborn. They want to, they don't want to hurt the feelings of these vets. And I think that's all that's been. But yeah, Dobbins looked great. That's gonna be exciting to watch going forward. But yeah, please God, do not let us miss that night game. I always loved that one.
It's the best. It's typically the best game. It typically involves, I feel like, the Ravens or the Steelers in some capacity. And yeah, it is a great way to end the night because you've spent the whole day watching football and you're like, what could make this day better? More football. Yes, please. And thank you. So hopefully that game does not get taken away from us. Absurism IDP has a question. Any news on the incident at the Cowboys Stadium today? Did you all see this? So one of their coaches there for the Cowboys was rushed to the hospital, emergency medical incident. The facility was shut down. Everything was canceled. And they actually... news came out that this coach had died. Like, if you go back, Michael Lombardi may have deleted this tweet, but he actually retweeted it and said, "My sincerest condolences to the Cowboys." So crazy stuff. I haven't seen yet why this coach was hospitalized. It was a very serious thing from what I understand, but yes, literally news was coming out that he had passed away.
Wow, I did not see this at all. I've also, I've been off work, so I haven't really been tuned in this week. But man, that's a shame.
Yeah, so it is. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the news. It's Dallas Cowboys strength coach Marcus Paul was rushed to the hospital. He's undergoing tests as of 8 hours ago. But at TMZ, the headline: Dallas Cowboys coach Marcus Paul not dead. Still fighting after medical emergency. So, I mean, thoughts and prayers to the Paul family with whatever's going on there. We hope he's okay. But just a bizarre incident. I thought when they had shut the facility down, they said it was something medical related, but not related to COVID. And so that was a very strange thing. Turns out it was as serious as people suspected. There was just that really weird twist there of the premature death news. So hopefully he gets better, and we have some good news to report later this week.
Good job, Mike Lombardi.
Yeah, I don't think he originally tweeted it, but he retweeted it. That's how I saw it, giving condolences to the Cowboys organization. So, all right, let's move on here to the next segment we got, Addy, and we're going to talk some waivers. And as we did a couple weeks ago, we want to pull from, instead of, looking at, the people that are out there on like our various league waiver wires, we want to give some love to two of our favorites, Mike Woellert and Kyle Bellefeuil. They do awesome work for 4 for 4 and IDP Guys, respectively. They put out a weekly waiver wire article. So what we've been doing is pulling out some common players on both of those lists when possible. So I want to start with linebacker here, Addy, and this one pains me. It pains me deep in my soul because my baby, my one and only son, Jayon Brown, had been balling out. He had been justifying that almost $10 million investment in our main league. He was at LB1, and then he has a dislocated elbow, is out for the season. So both Mike and Kyle suggest Will Compton. What do you think about Compton as a replacement for Jayon Brown?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, Compton was the guy that came in and filled in for Jayon Brown. He logged 35 snaps this past week, and that was right after Jayon went out. But yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that replacement. Looks like it's going to be Will Compton. And yeah, he's going to rack up some tackles. So I'd fire him up and definitely add him to your waivers if you can.
Yeah, especially if you were counting on Jayon as one of your top 3 linebackers. Just go, grab the replacement there, Compton, as Abshurism points out here in the comments. It looks like that our boy, Will Compton, got the green dot over Rashaan Evans. So that is noteworthy. That means that Compton is going to be on the field if he's the one calling the plays.
Yeah, I mean, he got 6 tackles and 35 snaps this past week, so that's nice.
Yep. So D-line, actually a couple recommendations here. I couldn't find any overlap between Kyle and Mike's articles, but they're both from the same team. Mike suggested Josh Sweat, defensive end for the Eagles, while Kyle suggested Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle, also for the Eagles. Addy, why should these two guys be on IDP players' radars?
I mean, Josh Sweat's been playing well this year. He's got 4 sacks on the year, and it seems like he's been playing much better as of late. Javon Hargrave, a guy that we were all kind of excited about to start the year. He's kind of been slow to start, but he's been more productive as of late as well. So yeah, both those guys, good options. Hargrave's definitely defensive tackle only leagues. But yeah, 2 good options for you. Josh Sweat, we've been pumping him for a little bit now.
Yeah, the Sweat Bros, him and Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Both having nice years. It's
Sweat's
good to
not
be
getting Sweat. He's not getting the snaps that we would like. I mean, he's still like hovering around like 30 a game. We want him to get more up in that 40 to 45 range, but still, he's been productive.
Yes. So Addy, I'm just going to clear the kind of like Jordan with the ball at the end of the game. I'm just going to set the stage and then clear out of the lane and let you take it to the hoop here. Both Kyle and Mike recommended Ashton Davis, safety for the Jets. So speak on it, Addy.
Been telling you. But yeah, this was a huge breakout game for Davis. 12 tackles and a fumble recovery. 36% of his snaps came from at the line or in the box. Played free safety 42%. So why is that important? Well, it's important because we want to know who's playing closer to the line of scrimmage, because that's usually where the tackles come from. So if we were comparing him to Marcus May only played 20% in the box or at the line and 68% at free safety. So he's playing deep a lot more. That's what we want for IDP. But yeah, Ashton Davis is balling. The week previous, he should have had a sack, but that got called back. So someone that I'm super impressed with. He seems to have a nose for the ball, and he's in that Jamal Adams role right now. So another note here on Ashton Davis that I thought was kind of cool. He doesn't have a car, and he still rides a bike to work every day.
That's like some Green Bay Packers they always show at the beginning of training camp where they ride the bikes that the kids bring. But this is by choice. Ashton Davis is still just riding a bike to work. Can we start a GoFundMe to get Ashton Davis a vehicle?
Yeah, come on. He's playing great now. I think it's time for him to upgrade and get a car. And also, it's like 20 degrees there in New York. So
say that can't be safe as cold as it is. It's like, get a car, bro, or just ride share.
And I found that out from a tweet. There was a comment underneath that tweet that I thought was pretty funny. Here it is. It's Imagine biking in sub-freezing temperatures to be coached by Adam Gase.
Yeah, I can't imagine a worse hell. I think that's like the 8th ring of hell. It's down below the typical 7 that you hear about.
Yeah, really good
but
time.
at least he'll be under a new coach next season.
But yeah,
So-
Ashton Davis, I mean, a great dynasty ad. I mean, he's someone you should have probably already. It might be too late now, but there will be a lot of competition for people going after this guy this week.
And as we recall, Addy got the extension from yours truly in the XFFL.
Yes, that was wonderful timing. You love doing that. You put yourself out on a limb and give someone an extension, and they immediately followed up with a huge week. So love you for that, Ashton. Thank you.
And you gave him some extra money right before the holidays.
Yeah.
So
I want him to get a car, Josh. That's why I did it.
Please, Ashton.
You're a good guy, Adam.
Addy's trying to hook you up with some funds here to get a vehicle.
Get the Kirk Cousins van.
Yeah, is
The
he
Astro van.
the Astro van? I was going to say,
I legit think that's what he drives. It's
or
like
the
not
Mark
just even like a
Mark
regular
III van that we used to rock as a
Yeah.
Raymer family down to Florida.
Could be an ice cream truck type deal. Just big old van.
Do you guys ever have curtains in those vans
Yes.
or anything?
Oh yes. Remember
Oh,
those?
yeah.
The curtains on the windows.
We had a button that would make the seats lay flat.
Ooh.
Did we really?
Yeah.
That was a fancy van.
Oh yeah.
Had a TV. This was back when TVs were square and boxy, and it had a little TV up in a
Like recessed into.
yeah, like recessed into like a wooden kind of cabinet.
we thought
Man.
we were
Big
big
timers.
time, man. Yeah.
We used to hook up the N64 on the way down to Florida and just play for like hours on end.
yeah, we were shitting in high cotton.
It was really good. So let's get to the main event here, fellas. What people have been waiting for, have been clamoring for all week. It's time to compare some IDPs to our favorite Thanksgiving foods. And so we're going to start, of course, with turkey. This is the food that is synonymous with Thanksgiving, Addy. But here's the dirty little secret, and especially for our international listeners, which we know, Connor, we have a tremendous listening in Denmark. We are the 28th podcast in Denmark, I think.
Yeah, shout out all our listeners in Denmark. That's
In fantasy sports, right? Not just
Yes,
period.
yes, of course.
no,
Not just
and
period.
everything. Yeah.
No, we're
taking
probably-
over
we're
Denmark
like
market.
35th and probably overall. But yes, in fantasy, we are the 28th podcast.
You could put a gun to my head and be like, "You better point out Denmark, or I'm gonna blow your brains out."
I didn't think it was a real country. I thought it was just made up.
Yeah, but that's sick. Shout out Denmark.
No, this is a serious. I know Denmark was real. I thought Kazakhstan, like Borat's home,
I know Kazakhstan.
I thought it was fake. Then they went there on The Amazing Race, and I was like, this is a real country?
Yeah, that suit is black, not.
Yeah, like I'd had no idea. I'm also geographically just an idiot, so you have to keep that in mind. But anyways, my point was, for international listeners, turkey, it is the dish that is most closely associated with Thanksgiving. It's supposed to be the star of the show, but Addy, it's highly overrated. It's a bad bird. It's typically overcooked, so it's very dry. So the players that we're going to be looking at here are overhyped and overrated. And to give you a flavor for what I mean, I'll kick us off with Corey Littleton. He was brought into Las Vegas, that brand new stadium, the Death Star, I think they call it, the nerds on ESPN, which is owned by Disney, which owns Star Wars. So connect the dots here, but still a nerdy comparison. He was brought in to this rebuilt defense to be the star. And he's been shown up by Nick Kwiatkowski and Nicholas Morrow. Now, John Macri, the beloved PFF Macri, as we know, Addy, shout out, wrote an article for PFF earlier this season breaking down Corey's struggles. But this turkey is just sloppy. Corey Littleton leads the NFL in missed tackles despite playing in just 8 games, Addy.
Yikes. Not good.
No, he is not good. And right now, Absher, as I'm pointing out, I'm a big Raiders fan. He has been a letdown. Absolutely. He is the turkey right now for me. Addy, who is your pick?
For me, it's going to be Jerome Baker. Jerome Baker, he's currently the LB32. Not bad, right? Wrong.
Not bad, right? Wrong. That's very much a Borat joke.
Are we doing Borat bits tonight?
Lots of Borat bits.
Like sleeve of a wizard. Let's dig a little deeper into this turkey, though, Mr. Jerome Baker. So through his first 8 games, Jerome Baker saw no less than 75% of the defensive snaps. This all changed after week 9. In week 10, he saw 60% of the snaps, and then in week 11, he saw only 31%. Yikes.
Ruh-roh.
Remember that massive week 1 performance he had? 16 tackles and a sacks? That worked out to 32 points. Over his next 9 games, he's averaged 8.3 points per game. Baker's fallen out of favor with the staff, and he should be out of your lineup, Joshy and Connie.
Falling out of favor and falling out of your lineup. And falling out of your hearts, if we're being honest.
Sure.
Heart not made of gold.
No, absolutely. Just a pure black heart. All right, so Corey Littleton, Jerome Baker, turkeys. Connor, take us home. Final turkey.
My turkey is Bradley Chubb.
Ooh, you don't have a Chubb for Bradley Chubb, huh?
I do not. No stiffy for Chubb. Giving Chubb a stiff arm, if you will. I'll be here all night.
He literally will. He may fall asleep in that chair.
Legitimately,
so.
I'm fading fast. Although I just absolutely crushed a Yedster full of coffee. So it just twins
You have to accept at this point, nothing short of heroin, mainlining heroin with twins is going to wake you up.
Yeah, you got to find some toot, and I'm not going to be able to get my hands on any. But Bradley Chubb coming off the injury. This was supposed to be a bounce back year for Chubb, and he's been fine, I guess, but certainly not lived up to the hype. He's appeared in every game, but has only scored in double digits 4 times. So, I mean, he's really an edge player. Hurt by his design, but he's the linebacker. He's LB 49 right now.
Yeah, he's an edge guy, Addy. In defensive end, if you got him as a defensive end, he's doing fine. He's like D-end 18. But as a LB, which is how he's going to be classified on a lot of platforms, LB 49 right now, which is just not getting it done.
No, and especially, with no Von Miller, he's really the guy that defense needs to step up, and I think a lot of us were expecting him to take, a massive leap this year. But we also got to keep in mind he's coming off that ACL. Maybe he just needs another year.
Yeah, maybe next year will be the year.
Right.
But not lived up to the hype so far. So let's move on. Turkey may be the star, but ham, Connor, that other Thanksgiving meat, is crucial and low-key better than turkey. Agree or disagree?
Oh, I totally agree. Now, if you're going turkey, though, you got to go dark meat.
Of course.
Yeah, you want the dark. That's going to be the best. But I'm a ham boy over turkey, and here's why. And shout out the late great Uncle Tim.
Yes.
Eating ham sandwiches with him at Thanksgiving dinner, where he would just load up Sister Schubert rolls with butter, take a little piece of ham, he'd take a deviled egg, mashed potatoes, and sometimes he would even stack like a veggie in there and then just eat
a sandwich that's as big as like a Big Mac.
I swear to you, and that was just like as a after dinner type
that was like
he'd eat maybe 5 of those after
it's like
dinner.
7 o'clock and I'm getting hungry again.
Yeah, so in honor of Uncle Tim, I'm going to be eating those. So yeah, I think I am. I'm a ham boy.
Ham boy. So Addy, we've classified this. This is the sidekick who's actually the star. This is where Robin is better than the so-called Batman, and I'll kick us off. I'm going Foyesade Oluokun of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, he's LB 22 right now. Batman, Deion Jones, is linebacker 20. But yet, what did you pay for Foye? Nothing. He was on waivers in probably 99% of leagues. Deion was probably your first, most likely your second linebacker off the board, so you paid a hefty price to get him, but Foye has outscored and outproduced based on where you took him, that return on investment. You're getting much more from Oluokun. And not to mention, we talked about this when he had the 3 fumbles in one half of football. He has the ham Murphys, Addy.
Love it, Joshy.
We'll both be here all night, just snoozing away in the warm and toasty sode shack.
Hey, it's a Rama thing.
That's right. All right, Addy, who is your pick for the ham of the IDP world?
For me, it's Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates, he has a PFF grade of 91. This is PFF's #1 rated defensive back. He's #actually good.
Actually good?
Actually good. Jesse Bates is currently the safety 4. He's averaging about 14 points a game. All offseason, folks like me were telling you to fade Jesse Bates. He plays more deep. Von Bell is a strong safety. He's the guy that's going to be playing in the box. You want Von Bell. Also, Sean Williams, he's there. He's going to take away tackle opportunities, yada, yada, yada. None of this worked out. doesn't matter with Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is that Justin Simmons type. Plays deep, but he has a knack for making plays on a consistent basis. Jesse will be another prime fade candidate this offseason, but it's not going to be by me.
You need to hold us accountable and tell us if we try to start fading Jesse again, just be like, no, boys, we're not doing it. We're giving Jesse the respect that he deserves. And we should point out, Von Bell's been fine, but Jesse Bates has been better.
Yep.
And if he's in that Justin Simmons mold, we saw that insane Simmons interception where he covered about what felt like 70 yards of ground to make the pick on that final that final play against the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's so sick, man. Very underrated. Probably the most underrated safety outside of Poyer.
That's right. So, Ham Boy, take us home with your pick.
So we're going ham with my man JPP. JPP, give me 8, my man. Shaq Barrett gets all the love, and 19.5 sacks in 2019 will do that for you. But what about JPP? This guy is balling this year like he does every year. JPP is averaging DN6 or better, depending on your league, linebacker 18. Meanwhile, Shaq Barrett is averaging 10.16 points per game and is currently DN 13, or again, depending on your league, linebacker 27. Now, we do need to give Shaq Barrett some love. He is second in pressures, only behind the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Donald. Yes. JPP has 31. This is fine, but he's tied for 29th best according to PFF. So JPP, he's getting numbies.
He is getting numbies, and I loved it. That great Monday night game, shout out the Bucs and the Rams. That was a fun game, unless you're Tom Brady trying to throw deep. I think over the last 5 games, his passer rating on deep passes is 0.0. So unless you're Tom Brady's deep targets, you would very much enjoy that Monday night game. And what I loved most was JPP going up to swat a pass from Jared Goff with his right hand that had, I think, 3 fingers on it. So, and you could clearly see it, right? Like, it's just so strange to think that if Goff had thrown the ball a little bit further the other way, it could have sailed right past JPP's hand, and he wouldn't have been able to bat it down because he's missing those fingies, Addy.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. Good old hand joke at the expense of JPP.
People don't forget JPP. People, be responsible with your fireworks, for the love of God.
If you're an NFL player, don't handle
do
your
them
own
yourself.
fireworks. It's like we were talking about. If you're rich, don't drive your own car. Have a driver.
Just don't do anything.
Yeah, just don't get canceled. The world is out to, watch you fall. Don't give them a reason to.
Sir, lock yourself in a padded room. Stay inside,
right.
folks.
Never leave. Get off the grid. Manage your own food and energy.
Have y'all seen the guy for Barstool? He kind of carries the flag for the Bucks. His name's Stephen Shea. He's like one of their head of the marketing department. He's a huge Bucks fan, but he has the most cringeworthy, and it's almost become like famous amongst NFL people, especially Bucks fans. But anytime JPP does something, he'll just do like a cringeworthy camera angle and go JPP, and it just become like this new like internet audio tagline. So you're going to be hearing that, I'm sure, or seeing that a lot. If you Google JPP anytime he does something big, it's going to reroute you to Stephen Shea doing some just awkward video for him. I'll have to tag you in it just so you can see.
Please don't. I did not need to know that existed, and I'm not going to indulge.
Yeah, we don't support Barstool, Connor.
Yeah, this guy he's out of control on his cringeworthy videos. They're hard to watch, but I can't stop, so it's just kind of a catch-22.
Barstool.
Let's
Barstool. Sports for Proud Boys.
Thanks, Addy, for bringing that home. You're the uncle at the table right now.
Yeah, you are crazy Uncle Addy.
That's right. Let's talk about mashed potatoes. So compared to all the cheap knockoffs, it's amazing to have the real thing. I've said this. This is one of my food, flag plants. Boxed mashed potatoes, anything that is not the real deal, is not good. But we pretend like it is because it's mashed potatoes, right? It can't be that hard. And then you have the real thing at Thanksgiving, and you're like, oh my God, I'm sorry I ever disrespected you, mashed potatoes. You are amazing. So this is players that are legit, the real deal. And we're going to start with JPP's teammate, Levante David. Every year, we try to crown a new linebacker to crack the top 5 and carry our IDP squads. Sure, We have to squint a little bit when looking at those other options, but we tell ourselves it'll be fine. It's mashed potatoes, not that difficult, right? Wrong. Levante David is always better than the knockoffs because, Addy, he is the real deal.
Love it, Joshy. Got another elite linebacker for you.
Hit me with it, baby.
Bobby Wagner, LB6, averaging almost 15 points a game. This will be Bobby Wagner's 9th straight season with 100 tackles. Anyone want to guess how many seasons Bobby Wagner has played?
I saw it in the notes, so I am not going to guess.
Okay, good guess, but incorrect. It's 9.
Oh, that was so close.
Wagner is PFF's #1 rated linebacker. This guy's good. Thankful for you, B-Wags. Also,
Love me
you too, Z-Mags.
Z-Mags and B-Wags. So B-Wags helped me bring home, I believe he was on my squad the year I took home the title in the XFFL. So forever grateful to B-Wags for just being the man there in Seattle's linebacking core. All right, Connie, take us home. We're moving to a different position group, but you've got a really nice pick here for some mashed taters.
Yeah, for my mashed tater pick, I have Jordan Poyer. We mentioned it last week, but in a year that has kind of been topsy-turvy for safety, one fact remains. Poyer is rock freaking solid, baby. He has a smoke show wife who retweeted us, and his play has been exceptional this year. Buddha is king, of course, but sitting at his right hand is Jordan Poyer, safety 2 on the season.
Let's not skip over the fact that Poyer's wife is an absolute bombshell who gave us that retweet, Addy, and that tweet had some of the highest engagement we've ever gotten.
Tip of the cap to you, my lady.
Yeah, she's following us. She's seeing what we're doing. We see you, Rachel.
I think she just happened to be perusing her husband's name or maybe the Bills hashtag and happened to come across that. And we were talking good about Poyer, so
Yeah, let's hashtag this epi.
yeah, just hashtag it at mention her.
Yep, it was really nice what she done for us, and we'll always be thankful for her.
Absolutely. So there are our mashed potato picks. Let's move on to my personal favorite, my tippy top of the food pyramid. Or is it the bottom? That's what you eat the most of. So it's the bottom of the food pyramid for me. It's mac and cheese. Now, even though you've had it all year, somehow, inexplicably, mac and cheese always tastes better on the big day of Thanksgiving. So these players, Connor, despite the fact that we've had them in our lives all season, they just have been playing a little bit better. Like mac and cheese, they taste better on the big day. And I'm going to kick us off with a player. We all know who it is, J.J. Watt. Now, started this year slow. Addy, then we put him on blast by saying his brother is better than him, which is still true. Still true, by the way. This is, speaking in terms of on-the-field play and IDP performance, but nevertheless, since we put him on blast, J.J. Watt has been tearing it up. Starting in week 6, he scored 21, 15, had his bye week, 13, 11, and 11. This is the crucial stretch of the fantasy season. We're making the push for the playoffs. It's the big day, Addy, and J.J. is coming through, playing better than he has all year.
Good stuff, JJ. It's what Connor named his boy after.
Never forget. As you think he's going to be, sometime during family dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, while they're sitting down eating their Subway as a Watt family, that he's going to be out in the yard doing the tackling, with the sleds and doing all the rip and swim moves, listening to, what is it, Fort Myer, 1000% Pain?
Yeah,
Fort Minor.
Yeah.
Fort Minor, there we go.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt about it. Who's your pick for mac and cheese, Addy?
It's going to be Jamie Collins for me. Just underrated, always underrated. So he got off to a slow start like JJ, averaged 10 points per game the first 6, but over the last 4, we've seen that tick up to about 16 a game. He's currently the LB 17 on the season. Just an underrated asset. He is the piece to own on that Detroit defense.
But Addy, I thought all the Detroit linebackers were terrible.
We should have seen this coming, This was Matt P's there. We know the former ties to New England, and he coached him there. We should have seen this coming, but Jamie Collins was, he was going like LB 36 to 45, beginning of the year. he's definitely outproduced that draft spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seemed like the obvious choice, which I think is why a lot of us shied away from it, because everything seems to be upside down in Detroit. So we thought, it'll be someone like Jelani Tavai or, some player to be named later, Gerard Davis or some guy off the street. But Connor, take us home. Who is your pick for the mac and cheese player?
Before I do mine, anytime you talk about Matt Patricia, I always think of him as Pencil Boy now.
Pencil Boy. He is Pencil Boy. Putting up a big offer against the Carolina Panthers, just, stalwart defense. I thought that would be the final nail in Pencil Boy's coffin, but he lives to coach another day, Addy.
I know, man. It's gonna have to happen one of these days, right? Has to.
The day of reckoning is coming soon, and I cannot wait, Connor. But take us home with your mac and cheese pick.
My mac and cheese pick, Jabril Peppers. These Peppers are hot, baby.
As we know.
After a slow start through the first 6 weeks, Peppers has put up some impressive numbers, looking at 13.9, 19.35, 22.5, and 22.95 this last week. Damn, Daniel. Peppers is balling. He is my mac and cheese pick. After a little slow start, he has really picked things up after week 6.
And as we know, shout out to our boy Evan Lucian. Addy gave us some love on Twitter for the nice banter that we had about you not taking L's, but just eating W's. And this is a player that got brought up in that discussion. But no matter where you come down on Jabril Peppers, it has been nice if you held on to him through the slow start. You're getting rewarded for that now.
Yep, I know our boy Jordan Raines is pleased to see this.
Very pleased. I think he's probably the biggest Pepper stan I know.
I think so. Yeah, I associate him with Jabril Peppers. So
yeah,
congrats,
so I'm sure he's happy to hear it's our mac and cheese pick. But let's talk about a dish that I don't personally like, but Addy, you brought it up perfectly, and I think said it very well. Sweet potato casserole. What is it? Is it a side dish with the meal? Is it dessert? Why is it so good? So these are players that just defy logic and expectations. They are bafflingly good. You don't understand how it happens, but they're good despite your disbelief. And I'm going to kick us off with Kerry Hyder. Connie, when Nick Bosa went down, we wrote off that defensive line. Maybe Eric Armstead could be good for defensive tackle required leagues? No. But here comes 29-year-old Kerry Hyder scoring double digits in all but 2 weeks. He's sitting as the defensive end 14 after missing a game and already having his bye week. So he could even be higher in the ranks if it weren't for that. How? How is this happening? He is the sweet potato casserole of the defensive end position right now.
I can see
crazy.
that. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
It's crazy. It just it doesn't make much sense. Kerry who?
Kerry Hoofer? When you guys used to give me crap for the Jimmy Hoffa buried under the Mets Stadium or the
Giants Stadium.
Giants Stadium. There you go.
You guys like this stuff? You guys like sweet potato casserole? It took me a little bit to get into it. Like the sweet potato part always scared me.
Same. I was late to the game with marshmallow on top too, but it's far and away like one of the low key best sides you can get. Like it is so because I love sweet potatoes now. I eat them just obviously without being covered in marshmallows. But I mean it is yes. I mean it's out of this world good. So I'm gonna indulge on that like crazy. Again, also not only in honor of Uncle Tim, but just
because it's a little indulgent treat. You can eat
it
it as a side dish, and it's kind of like a pre-dessert.
If you, I'm just going to ask that you try it this year. If you haven't
I'll
tried
try it
there,
for sure.
It is.
I'll give it a try.
It is so good. Anything with marshmallows on it. I mean, just let that have a go.
It's fantastic. Some people call it sweet potato crunch. I think that's the version that my aunt makes. But man, it is what I look forward to the most.
As far as what I look forward to the most, Addy, it's your pick for the sweet potato casserole player.
Right. You were talking about Hal with Kerry Hyder. Speaking of Hal, Trey Hendrickson.
How?
Trey Hendrickson is the league leader in sacks this year. You guys know that?
This does not make any sense. I thought he was going to be like the week 1 or week 2 guy that slowly faded into oblivion, but he's still here. Addy, how is it happening?
Oh, he's not done yet, Josh. He is. He's currently the DE4, averaging 12.2 points per game. He has 34 pressures, which is 21st most. But you need to keep in mind he has done this on only 387 snaps. So let's look at his teammate Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan has 40 pressures, but he's played 532 snaps. That's 145 more snaps than Trey. So Trey is doing a lot with way less.
Yeah, and that defensive line, I just picked up David Onyemata as well. He's like defensive tackle 3 or 4. I think he's defensive tackle 3 right now. So this defensive line, the Saints defense has really helped them, with the Drew Brees injury, kind of weather the storm here and hold that place as the NFC's number 1 seed. And this defense, anchored by this defensive line, is a big part of the reason why, Addy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think some of us were kind of concerned once Marcus Davenport came back. What would that mean for Trey? Well, rightfully so, but it hasn't meant much. I mean, Trey Henderson's still out there playing more snaps than ever. And, he's the most productive guy on that unit right now. So love to see it.
Love to see it. All right, Connor. Also love to see your sweet potato casserole pick. Who we got here?
My candied yams pick is Daniel Sorensen.
Ooh, little Sorensen love.
Yes, same story as Peppers. Had a slow start, except his wasn't as long. It was only through the first 3 weeks for Sorensen, of course, on a great team there with the Chiefs. But it turned it on in week 4, and he really never looked back. So as of week 4, going through some point totals, this guy racked up 14 and a quarter, 9, 13.25, 26, 16.75, 17.5, and 13.25 this last week. Sorensen, like the Chiefs, has been really turning it up as of late. So it's an easy pick for me for the sweet potato casserole or candied yams.
Or the how is he this good? Because he gets overshadowed there by, the honey badger. He gets overshadowed, Addy, by our boy who got hurt. Help me out here. The other safety there that we love in Kansas City.
Ladarius Sneed.
Ladarius Sneed is another one as well. Who is the guy that Bobby always liked?
Juan Thornhill.
Juan Thornhill. There it is. So you have 3 other safeties there. And all this time, we've kind of forgotten about Daniel Sorensen, but he's putting up numbies like one of the best safeties in the league, Addy.
Yeah, he's crushing it right now. I mean, I'd say in the last, I'd imagine like in the last, 4 or 5 weeks, he's probably like the safety 1 or 2. I mean, I don't think there's been anyone better than him. He's just been crushing it week in and week out.
Absolutely. All right, let's take it home here, fellas, with the not flashy, but you're thankful for them dish at Thanksgiving. It's rolls. Now, Connor, we are the Sister Schubert rolls. Yep. We stand for Sister Shubes. Addy, is it Sister Shubes for your family as well at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, for the most part, I think it's Sister Schubert. Yeah. Which ones do y'all do? Do y'all do the ones in the tin, or
the little circular tin? Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll do the dinner roll, like the bigger kind of rectangular ones that you get at like a
in the bag.
Yeah,
the
in the
frozen
bag.
ones in the bag. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
you
do
know what
those
else we're doing
sometimes.
this year too, right?
Do
is
what?
the fire cornbread.
Ooh.
Remember, Mom is making that she made the other day, kind of like in
Montana Grill.
It's Montana Grill style, where it's got the jalapenos and she's doing that this year. She said for Thanksgiving, which I'm all about.
Love that. But these are your standard dinner rolls, right? They're not flashy, but you're thankful for them. Now, the key is you don't want to fill up on the rolls. And this is similar to these players. They're not sexy, they're solid, but you don't want to have a team of a bunch of rolls because you're not going to win a title with a bunch of dinner rolls on your team, Addy. So to give you some idea of who we're talking about here, Vince Williams, Steelers linebacker. Addy, who wanted Vince Williams preseason?
Not me.
Nobody. Everybody wanted Devin Bush. And what's Vince done? Be a top 16 linebacker ahead of Deion Jones, Jordan Hicks, the Woodchopper, A.J. Johnson, our baby, Fred Warner, Joe Schobert, our baby, Connor, Darius Leonard, and Miles Jack. Vince freaking Williams, the guy that nobody wanted, exemplifies to me, Addy, this dinner roll metaphor of not sexy, but very solid.
That's a great choice right there, Josh. I love it. My pick here is going to be Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, he's just an old-ass man. He's like, what, 32, 33? Boring, right? He's a safety 7 right now. Got off to a little bit of a slow start over his first 6 games. Only averaged 10 a game, but 14.4 over his last 4. Again, safety 7 on the year. I mean, he's even going to be fine for Dynasty. The Saints locked him up for, I think it was like 4 years, $32 million this offseason. So always underrated, always going to be able to get this guy as like a safety too. But just old, reliable vet, and he's just going to continue to produce in his old age.
That's right. I was thinking this Saints defense is one of the teams right now that has the most value at various positions. We mentioned the defensive line between Cameron Jordan, Trey Hendrickson, Onyemata. We've got Malcolm Jenkins now balling out. I was actually looking to see where Demario Davis was. And so right now, Demario Davis, he is LB 12, sandwiched in between TJ Watt and Jayon Brown, with Shaq Thompson right there behind Jayon Brown. So the Saints, this may be every year. It seems like we have these teams. The Steelers, obviously, it seems like these great defenses. You kind of think sometimes, at least I do as an IDP player, maybe there won't be as much value there for IDP because it's a team effort, right? The whole team is contributing top to bottom. Every position is solid. So maybe the tackles are more distributed, or the interceptions or the sacks or whatever. But I think we're seeing here, Addy, there is some real value to be had on these stellar defensive teams.
Really good point. Same thing with like the Steelers. You know, there's like 6 or 7 IDP relevant pieces on that defense. Same thing here. We didn't even mention, Gardner Johnson, Deuce, Quan Alexander, seen his snaps tick up. Just very fruitful for fantasy, some of these teams.
Yeah, I keep starting. I have old Gardner Deuce on my bench because I have Kari Willis, Harrison Smith, Jonathan Abram, Budda Baker, and Chauncey Gardner Johnson keeps outscoring all of them. I don't know what to do, Addy. I'm very conflicted.
Yeah, and then he's just one of those types. When you finally do get the courage to put him in your lineup, he's going to give you 2.5.
That's why I'm not I refuse. He's just not going in. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to put him in the lineup because I know when I do, he will crap my team.
Yep.
But Connie, the last food comparison for these NFL players, these IDPs, who do you got as your roles pick?
I got defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. So he is defensive tackle 8 right now. Longest slow start in my group. That's just kind of appears to be the theme of a few of the guys I've picked. But good news is they all have turned it on, especially as of late. So Fletcher was kind of inconsistent till week 6. And like a lot of these other guys, put together a run. And here's kind of a recap of what he's looked like starting at week 6. 18.75, 11 and a quarter, 11.75, 8.75, and 12 points this last week. So, we'll see if he is more of the first half of the season or the Fletcher of late.
Yeah, I think that first game was 8.75.
Was it? Yeah, 8.75. What'd I say?
You say 18.
Yeah.
So I didn't want listeners to be like, what? Fletcher Cox had a huge game. But yeah, he's been solid. I mean, that's right around like a 10-point average, which is really good, Addy, for defensive tackle required leagues. And Fletcher Cox, one of those guys that we know is good in the NFL, but he kind of felt like an older, overpaid veteran that was just like, yawn, I'm kind of over it. Kind of like a Malcolm Jenkins, like let's move on to something flashier and sexier, the Ed Olivers of the world. And Fletcher Cox is hanging in there and in the mix and in the discussion for defensive tackles that should be on your radar week to week.
Yeah, a lot of those pieces on that unit are. I mean, we talked about Josh Sweat earlier, Hargrave, and then Barnett has these weeks where he does well. But yeah, Cox is always going to be up there among the top defensive tackles.
Not to mention the DN number 2, Brandon Graham.
Love Cox.
Yes, your boy. Love Cox.
That's right.
You do, Connor.
Yeah, that's true, Connie. All right, well, hope you all enjoyed this segment. We put in a lot of time and work thinking up. And honestly, this was most difficult, Addy, because we had to then think about Thanksgiving food. And I just spent the whole time putting in my notes, very, very hungry.
Yes, I know. It's very tough staring at sweet potato casserole and mashed potatoes and trying to think about those things and comparing to players.
Yeah, it's the way that we suffer for the show, Addy. You suffer for your art sometimes.
Yeah, these are the hardest shows. I always, spend a little more time than I probably should trying to think of the perfect guy for and the perfect food.
Is there a perfect food though, Addy?
Mexican food.
Mexican food is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Pretty darn close. All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this crazy segment. We like to have a little fun around the holidays, Addy. And like I said, that's just what you're going to get with the Big 3 IDP podcast. Even though it's been a weird year with the Rona, we know, Addy, you've unfortunately had to tap out of Thanksgiving this year because of that. If you are able to, we hope you enjoy Thanksgiving this week. We hope you enjoy the food, the family, the fellowship, and the football. We will be back at you all next week with a little surprise. We've been looking to next season. We've been, it's December. It's the last month of regular season football, assuming no coronavirus postponements. So we wanted to do something special. So we've updated our cover art. We got a banging new intro song that we will debut next week, so do not miss that episode. And we should mention, after that one, Addy, the great PFF Macri will be joining us on December 8th to break down some of the biggest takeaways from the NFL season and the IDP landscape. Should be a lot of fun having John back on the show.
Yes, sir. Streets are about to be on fire with that new intro.
I know. I've been listening to it all day. I cannot wait to share it with you all. If you listen in your car, like, I don't know, Addy, Connie, what you guys do here. I like to listen to the pod in as many different audio settings as possible, but my favorite is always the car. That's why I take like a car lunch or go out on a Starbucks run or go run errands for Allie. But this new intro sounds amazing. As the kids say, Connie, it slaps.
Yeah, I was pumped when I first heard it. I think all the listeners are going to like it. I'm excited to see the new cover art. So, big tings. So
big tings. As we know, we got some new cover art coming for our boy Dr. Leesus. That's in the works right now. It looks amazing. So just, we keep it 100 with the professionalism, with the appearance, Addy. We don't ever do anything, half-ass.
No, let's raise the roof for that, boys, for all this new news.
Hey, y'all didn't tell Macri I got his name wrong the first time I ever talked about him on the pod.
That's okay.
That I called him John.
No, we
Larson.
totally did. Yeah, we did.
Speaking of John, just quick poll here before we get off of here. John Harbaugh, what's the over-under on how quickly he would have got slept by either
one punch,
Vrabel or Malcolm Butler?
One punch, especially if it was Vrabel.
Vrabel, I saw his stats. He's I think 6'4", 265 still.
Harbaugh would have caught these hands and gone to night land very quickly.
Yeah, just making sure we're on the same page there.
What was that about? Harbaugh was being a little girl right there, Dan, wasn't he?
It was apparently there's bad blood between these teams. The Titans came in and embarrassed them as the number 1 seed. So I think they said that the players were standing on the logo of the field, and they just felt like they were kind of encroaching on their territory.
Well, they were like scuffing it up for the game, like standing out there, like trashing on it on the center field of the opposing team. And he came out and took exception with Butler, and I think Butler was talking it right back. Yeah,
I don't think Butler has any problem giving it right back to the coach. But Harbaugh, come on, you're the face of the franchise. Get out of the scrum.
Hey, they gotta know whose house this is. This is our house. We can't have them doing that stuff in midfield, disrespecting our house like that. You kidding me, Josh?
We must protect this house as we lose a game to the Tennessee Titans again.
It's like when y'all got the fake flowers from your rival school in middle school, like your coach sent your team flowers and said they were from the other school.
All the psychological ploys. But this is not a psychological ploy. We want to give us a sincere shout out because we are thankful this week especially, but every week, for our patrons, Joseph, Bobby, Jason, Nico, Lauren, Aaron, Tom, and DJ Caltown, whose name I have already forgotten and I do not want to know, Addy. So, you monster. You keep ruining the intrigue and the surprise. But anyways, I'll say it again. Thank you all for listening. I'll take care. Stay safe, and we will see you guys next week.